Well, welcome. We are so glad you could join us for an afternoon of music and art so that we could show our appreciation to you, the Friends of the University Libraries. The Friends of the Libraries are a special group of people. I suspect each of you fell in love with libraries during pivotal times of your life, whether it was when you were a child, a teen, or later in life. I don't need to tell you how libraries open up worlds to explore at any age. My name's Lisa German. I'm the Dean of the University Libraries. And I feel like I must acknowledge the unique character of our libraries. We not only have millions of books, literally millions, we also have ebooks, maps, government publications, and a wealth of rare material in our archives and special collections that is found literally nowhere else. In addition, through Minitex, a collaboration of the University of Minnesota and the Office of Higher Education, all citizens of Minnesota have access to the Electronic Library of Minnesota, or ELM. Beyond materials, we have innovative and expert staff who power curiosity, discovery, and connection with students, faculty, community members, and other scholars. It is a great honor to lead this organization. It's an enterprise I'm really proud of, and I believe you are too. Together, we will be immersed in the visual world of George Morrison, one of Minnesota's most celebrated modern artists. The works we will see today derive intensity from the genres of everything, from abstract expressionism to found art to plein air celebrations of Lake Superior and its North Shore. Offering his music as an undercurrent, complement, and counterpoint will be Briand Morrison. He's an accomplished guitarist, and he knows and feels his father's works from the inside out. The gift that the two Morrisons provide us this afternoon is unique and beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time to experience it with us. And I'd also like to acknowledge Briand's mother, Hazel Belvo, who is also an artist and who's joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to acknowledge the peoples upon whose land we meet. The University of Minnesota Twin Cities is built within the traditional homelands of the Dakota people. It's important to acknowledge the peoples on whose land we live, learn, and work as we seek to improve and strengthen our relations with tribal nations. We also acknowledge that words are not enough. We must ensure that our institution provides support, resources, and programs that increase access to all aspects of higher education for American Indian students, staff, faculty, and community members. So please now join me in welcoming Briand Morrison.
Bonjour. Bekamagabo Indigenous, Makwa Indudam, Kichi Oningaming Indujiba. I say these words to honor my ancestors, and what I said was, my name is Bekamagabo. I am a member of the Bear Clan, and I am from Grand Portage, Minnesota. Thank you for coming here. I am so thrilled to be here. Let's see. I have something in common with my father. We both started doing our thing early in our lives, and but the language here is different. I play jazz, and so I use the language. I use the language of jazz, whereas my father, of course, you know, used the language of the line and the stroke and the color and the form. Anyway, it was a joy, and it was a wonder, really, to be raised by two artists, George Morrison and Hazel Belvo. I was born in New York in 1961, and later we lived in Rhode Island. And then in 1970, we moved here to St. Paul, where my father was the professor of art here at the university. And then he was also hired into the very first American Indian Studies department in the country. And a good man, his name was Roger Buffalo Head, actually got suggested that they would pay his salary half out of the Indian Studies department, and that's how they got my dad here, and it was important that it wasn't a foregone conclusion that we would come from Rhode Island to Minnesota, but it had turned out that way, and my family, the Morrison family, is from here as well. Okay, I guess I've said enough. Now I know about my little show here today. I started doing this about 10 years ago. I put together a series of images of my dad's work, and then I wrote music to go along with it, and I made a Blu-ray disc out of it. And so then later I started performing this, and how I perform it is that I show the video and without the music, without the sound, and then I simply play guitar to that. And today what I'll be doing is playing mostly jazz standards, which I think you might recognize. And these are tunes that I know that my father listened to quite frequently and knew. And so there we go. There we have it.
So I think we have about 15 minutes for questions. Does anybody have any questions? We'll bring the mic down to you. Greg and Katie have mics, so who has a question? Thank you.
I was wondering if you spent any time in Brazil, because a lot of the sounds, and especially the beginning part, felt so Brazilian to me, and I absolutely loved it. And thank you for playing for us.
Thank you. No, I never have gone there, but I sure do love the music. You bet. Yep. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Oh, gosh, I think it was, I knew that number once. I think it was 100, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I might remember it in a few moments.
Yes.
I was just wondering, what was the time span of your father's work?
Oh, yeah. You mean in this show or just? Okay. Well, 35 minutes for that. Okay. Is that what? Okay. All right. Is that what you meant? Okay. I understand. Yes. Okay. Yeah. This was kind of like a mini retrospective. I just showed all of his stuff that I had, and then the high resolution images. I put them all together, and and I started, early on, and I did it in time sequence, and yeah. Good. Thank you.
That was very, very cool. I'm just very curious what your development process was like to make this and like put the music to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I always wanted to do something like this, and it was difficult, because my dad is such a big man. No. So it was really difficult. In the end, I just did it, like I said, is in time sequence, and and then all right. So how did I see? Okay. Right. I edited the video to go with the music rather than the other way around. You see what I mean? Yeah, because when you do cinematic work, you work with the images, and you have your software, and there's the image. And, yeah, and basically, so I wrote the songs, and then I put them in there, and then I put the images to the music. That's what I did. So and so if you listen to the CD, or watch the Blu-ray with the music, you'll see what I mean, because there's it's the music like goes with the the images. Yeah, and that's all. And then I use my looper. That's my way I make a living, because I don't have to pay a rhythm section. And yeah, okay. And oh, sorry. I was just going to say, in the end, to do this work, I simply did. I just did what I do. I mean, in other words, I did what came naturally. I could have. I mean, there's a million ways you could have done. I could have done it, and it just, So I just did it naturally, and that's how it, it came to be, And I'd like to work on a lot more different ones. Yeah.
You compose pieces to reflect these visual works. Do you know if your dad made any pictures as a response to anything musical?
Yeah. Yes, he actually, he did, and I have the drawing. It's called Tones for Joan's Bones. And that happens to be the very first Chick Corea album, you know. And I have that piece, Tones for Joan's Bones. Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like charcoal, I think, and you know, it looks like abstract art. Yep.
There seem to be a lot of images of Lake Superior. Is there a particular location of Lake Superior that those images are from?
Well, yes, and the place is in Grand Portage. We call it Red Rock, and it's just the house that my dad built, and it's right on the lake, and so we get to see the lake day and night. And we put big spotlights on it at night so we can see it. Okay, so the big theme, of my dad's work, of course, is the horizon line. And, I was born in New York and raised in Rhode Island. We had a summer home in Cape Cod. Provincetown was really is a magical place, Provincetown. It's on the tip of Cape Cod. It's surrounded by water and dunes, and it's an artist colony, and there are really cool people there, and it's just quaint little Cape Cod town, so that's what I grew up with, and. But it's not what my father grew up with. See, he grew up with what I'm seeing now, and so at first, I thought that the horizon really was the Atlantic Ocean, and, because of what I was used to seeing, and then, and that's how I knew my dad too. I didn't know him from a reservation or anything like that. He was just a dad like any other normal, any other dad, and he had a job, but his job was an art professor, and he was obviously Indian too, but his famous line is, he's an artist that happens to be an Indian, okay, and my joke, okay, is that I'm a guitar player who happens to be human, okay, and so, but that doesn't fit in with what we're talking about now. So the horizon, it turns out that the horizon line is Lake Superior, according to all of his work, see, because in the 80s, that's when he lived there, and then he did these series of paintings, which is acrylic on canvas on board, and these are called the Horizon series, so if you were able to, and I will make it able, you will be able to one day see all of the horizon paintings, and then pictures of the North Shore, and you will see that that horizon, the mystique. How does he say it? He says that something about going to the horizon, and but beyond that, okay, beyond the horizon is the unknown. And well,
Did your father listen to music while he painted?
he absolutely did. Yeah, he was a classical guy. Yeah, and one time I was very excited because I heard Tchaikovsky's like Nutcracker, and I was really excited. I ran to my dad and I said, "Isn't Tchaikovsky wonderful?" And I was, isn't he a great composer? And he says, "Well, he's not a great composer." He liked Rimsky-Korsakov, and boy did he like music. He just he always tells the story of, oh gosh, what was it? I think it's Stravinsky, Rite of Spring, when that was played, and half the people in the audience absolutely loved it, and the other half absolutely hated it, and it caused a riot. And he was so excited about that riot, But yeah, and he listened to NPR all the time, and gosh, and I would come into the church. Well, I don't know how much time we have, but we moved into Highland Park in 1970, and we renovated a church, a Lutheran church, and we painted the front door purple, and we lived there, and it really was the talk of the town. And downstairs where the cafeteria and the all in the church was, that was his studio, and he had music blasting all the time, and he liked jazz too. He definitely liked jazz. He was there. He was at the Five Spot. He was there in New York when Thelonious Monk and everybody, they were doing their thing, and he was right there. It was very exciting to hear about. I did know a lot of jazz musicians personally in New York, and they were friends of my parents, and so music was quite the thing, and jazz and classical was listened to, not rock, not rock, okay, but he did play guitar too, and we sat around the table and everybody sang songs. It was just so fun. And see, I think they were from the generation where if there was ever to be music in the house, then it was created. It was played. That's how music got to be in the house. And so I think that both my mother and father both played guitar and sang.
Any final questions?
Briand, I wanted to, do you remember the game you used to play where he would give you a composer and you'd have to know the first name?
Sure. Yeah. What we used to. I was really close to my dad. And I called him Father. Okay, I didn't call him Dad. I said Father. And we did have a very close and special relationship. I see that now, and he was different with me than he was with other people. It's like I didn't get to party with him. I was there for a lot of parties, but it's like, but he wasn't my party buddy, and like other people who I saw. Well, and I didn't have that kind of relationship. I had a different kind. Oh gosh, I forgot what the question was. The game. Okay. Right.
The almost name that tune
Okay.
game.
The game. Okay. The game is the first name of the composers. So he knew all the composers' names, just every one. And so, I mean, Beethoven, it's Ludwig, and he just knew them all. Aram, Khachaturian, oh gosh, and we used to have so much fun with it, really. So, yeah, anyway.
Well, Briand, thank you so much.
So much for coming. Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Friends of the Library Board, a good friend to the library, a good friend to me, Dr. Amelius White.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Just as a point of personal privilege, probably the first time and maybe the last time I spoke in this space was 1991 when I was a second-year grad student at the Humphrey Institute, before it became the School of Public Affairs, welcoming first-year students. And I'm pretty sure I haven't been back. I've been in the room before, but not up here, so I'm happy to be here. As Lisa said, my name is Amelius White, and I have the honor of being the chair of the Friends of the Libraries. When I get up and after our events this year, I say two words pretty much every time. And even though I say them every time, I just want to make clear that I'm very sincere when I say thank you. Because I'm very grateful for those of you who are here, whether you're friends of the libraries or supporters, and if this is your first time, particularly on a chilly Sunday. The last time the Friends gathered at an event I think it was January 26th, and I made a comment. It was 14 degrees that day, and I said, our next event will be warmer. Well, it's warmer, but not by much. But I want to thank the members of the Friends of the Libraries who are here today. Your support makes events like this possible. I'm blessed to be chair of the Friends, and we have a number of board members here and former board members. And the work of the Friends doesn't happen without these folks. I've been involved with many boards, and this is the first board where former board members, they still come to meetings. Most boards I'm on, once you're done, you're like, bye, see ya. But they will still show up. And I think that says something about the passion they have for the libraries and the organization. And I just want to them, both the current board and the previous board members, just want to say I don't take your contributions to the Friends for granted. As good as our board is, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the great library staff who help put on these events and help to support the Friends in many ways. And I'm well aware that it's a Sunday and many of them are here, so I want to thank them particularly for the work they do. My last thank you, and perhaps the most important, is to Briand Morrison. I am a great fan of music and art. I particularly like jazz, and bringing those two together was awesome. You honored your father by showcasing his art alongside your own talent, and I think that was just beautiful to see. I'm a fellow New Yorker, and I also agree that Provincetown is a magical place. And in fact, one of the images, it reminded me of the sand dunes. And so I was like, was that in P-Town? So as I mentioned earlier, this event is sponsored by the Friends. We can do events like this because we have members of the Friends who contribute to provide funds to support these events, for which I'm very grateful. If you're not a friend, you're welcome to join. There's materials on the table in the atrium as you leave. I would also ask, whether you're a friend or not, to come back and join us for our next event, the 14th annual Pancake Poetry Reading with Sun Young Shen. That will be on April 4th at 4 o'clock p.m. in the Elmer Anderson Library. I hope to see many of you there. I know that some of you may be at this event because you have an affinity with the artist, both Briand and his father, and I just want to affirmatively say, one, you're welcome, and you are welcome here at all of our events. And I think it's just important for me to say that. Thanks everyone for joining in this event and the conversations, and you're welcome to enjoy refreshments out in the atrium and get home safely. Thank you.